Quince at the Clavier is a poem written by Wallace Stevens, an American modernist poet. The poem was first published in 1923 in the collection titled Harmonium, which was Stevens' first major work. The poem is known for its complex language and rich imagery, exploring themes of art, imagination, and the relationship between reality and the creative process. The title refers to Peter Quince, a character from William Shakespeare's play, A Midsummer Night's Dream, who is a carpenter and amateur playwright. In Peter Quince at the Clavier, Stevens uses the image of a musician at the piano, the clavier, to delve into the nature of artistic creation and the tension between the real and the ideal. The poem is often considered an expression of Stevens' ideas about the power of the imagination to shape and transcend reality. The language in the poem is highly symbolic and metaphorical, making it open to various interpretations. Stevens' work is known for its intellectual depth, and Peter Quince at the Clavier is no exception. Readers often find different layers of meaning in the poem, making it a rich and thought-provoking piece of modernist literature. Peter Quince at the Clavier is a complex poem with intricate language and layered meanings. Here's a line-by-line explanation of the poem. The speaker begins by asserting their presence or identity. Just as my fingers on these keys. The speaker likens their expression or creativity to playing a musical instrument, specifically a piano clavier. Make music, so the self-same sounds. The speaker draws a parallel between the act of making music on the piano and the creation of artistic or poetic expressions. On my spirit, and on the air. The idea that the creative process affects not only the artist's inner self, spirit, but also permeates the external environment, on the air. Uplifted, utter the old despair. The creative act brings forth a familiar sense of despair or sadness. The juxtaposition of uplifted and despair suggests a complex emotional response to the artistic process. This is the key to it. The speaker introduces the idea that there is a fundamental understanding or insight key to the creative process. This is the key to it. Repetition for emphasis, highlighting the importance of this understanding. Now shall we hear the lute of love. The speaker shifts the focus to the theme of love, introducing the image of the lute, a traditional stringed instrument associated with romance. Now shall we hear the lute of love. Repetition emphasizes the anticipation of experiencing the music or expression of love. Now shall we hear the lute of love. Repetition continues to build anticipation. Now shall we hear the lute of love. Repetition persists, creating a rhythmic and almost incantatory effect. This is the prelude. The speaker declares that what has been stated so far serves as an introduction or prelude to a deeper exploration of the theme of love. To a dance of strangeness in ourselves. The reference to a dance of strangeness suggests a complex and unfamiliar interplay within the self, possibly alluding to the complexities of human relationships and emotions. Tune us to ourselves. The speaker suggests that the music of love has the power to attune or align individuals with their own emotions and nature. And we shall have no more false, silly words. The anticipated effect of the music is to eliminate insincere or trivial expressions. The speaker desires a more authentic and meaningful form of communication. This is the tune of our desire. The music becomes a representation of the collective longing or desire of the people. This is the music. Add a declarative statement emphasizing the significance of the music in expressing desire. This is the music. Repetition for emphasis. This is the prelude. Repetition of the earlier statement, reinforcing that what has been discussed is an introduction to a deeper exploration of desire and love. The poem, overall, is a rich exploration of the relationship between artistic expression, love, and the complexities of human emotion. Stevens employs vivid imagery and musical metaphor to convey a nuanced understanding of the creative process and its impact on the individual and society. Peter Quince at the Clavier, by Wallace Stevens, is a complex and symbolic poem that explores the relationship between art, love, and the human experience. Here's a detailed summary. The poem begins with the speaker describing their act of creation, drawing a parallel between playing the piano keys and the creation of artistic expression. The sounds produced by the keys not only resonate in the speaker's inner self but also extend to the external world, creating a complex interplay of emotions. The speaker acknowledges that the act of creation brings forth a sense of despair, a familiar and perhaps unavoidable aspect of the artistic process. Despite this, the speaker emphasizes that understanding the creative process is crucial. It is the key to it. The focus then shifts to the anticipation of hearing the lute of love. The lute, a traditional symbol of romance, represents the theme of love in the poem. The repetition of the phrase builds anticipation, creating a rhythmic and almost ritualistic effect. The speaker declares that what has been said so far serves as a prelude to a deeper exploration of the theme of love. This exploration is described as a dance of strangeness in ourselves, suggesting the complex and often enigmatic nature of human emotions and relationships. The music of love, according to the speaker, has the power to tune individuals to themselves, aligning them with their true emotions and desires. The anticipated effect of this tuning is a rejection of false and trivial expressions, leading to a more authentic form of communication. The speaker further declares that the music represents the collective desire of the people. It is the tune of their shared longings and aspirations, transcending individual experiences to become a universal expression of human desire. Repetition is employed throughout the poem, emphasizing key ideas and creating a rhythmic structure. The poem concludes by reiterating that what has been discussed is the prelude to a deeper exploration, underscoring the layered and multifaceted nature of the themes presented. In essence, Peter Quince at the Clavier is a poem that delves into the profound connections between artistic creation, love, and the complexities of human emotion. Stevens employs rich imagery, musical metaphor, and intricate language to convey a nuanced understanding of the creative process and its impact on both individuals and society. Setting. The poem does not explicitly provide a specific physical setting. Instead, it creates a mental and emotional landscape where the act of artistic creation and the exploration of love unfold. The setting is more abstract, taking place within the mind and imagination of the speaker. Tone. The tone of the poem is contemplative, reflective, and, at times, melancholic. There is a sense of introspection as the speaker explores the complexities of artistic creation and the emotional depths associated with love. The repetition of certain phrases, such as, "This is the key to it," and, "Now shall we hear the lute of love," contributes to a rhythmic and incantatory tone, creating a sense of ritual and emphasis. Writing style. Wallace Stevens employs a highly symbolic and metaphorical writing style in Peter Quince at the Clavier. The language is rich and complex, with layers of meaning embedded in each line. The poem is known for its intellectual depth and explores abstract concepts such as the relationship between reality and imagination, the power of artistic expression, and the nature of human desire. The use of musical metaphors, especially references to the piano and the lute, adds a sensory and evocative quality to the writing. Stevens' style is characterized by intricate imagery and a play with language, inviting readers to engage in a thoughtful and interpretive reading. Overall, the writing style contributes to the poem's status as a modernist work, challenging traditional forms and conventions while exploring the profound and sometimes elusive aspects of the human experience. Let's delve deeper into the analysis of Peter Quince at the Clavier, with specific examples from the poem. 1. Symbolism and metaphor. Example: just as my fingers on these keys make music, so the self-same sounds on my spirit, and on the air uplifted, utter the old despair. Analysis. The metaphor of playing keys on the piano symbolizes the act of artistic creation. The music produced not only affects the artist's inner self but also extends to the external world. The self-same sounds evoke a connection between the artistic process and the expression of profound emotions, including the old despair. 2. Repetition. Example: this is the key to it. This is the key to it. Analysis. The repetition of the phrase, "This is the key to it," emphasizes the importance of understanding the creative process. It serves as a refrain, highlighting a central theme and underlining its significance in the context of the poem. 3. Imagery. Example: now shall we hear the lute of love. Analysis. The image of the lute of love introduces a powerful symbol representing the theme of love. The anticipation of hearing this lute creates a vivid mental image, engaging the reader's senses and setting the stage for the exploration of love as a profound and transformative force. 4. Complex emotions. Example: uplifted, utter the old despair. Analysis. The juxtaposition of uplifted and old despair reflects the complex emotional landscape associated with artistic creation. It suggests that the act of making music or art simultaneously brings about both elevation and a recurrence of familiar feelings of despair, highlighting the nuanced nature of the creative process. 5. Rhythmic structure. Example: now shall we hear the lute of love. Now shall we hear the lute of love. Analysis. The repetition of the phrase, "Now shall we hear the lute of love," contributes to a rhythmic and almost ritualistic structure. This repetition, combined with the musical metaphors throughout the poem, creates a sense of pacing and cadence, enhancing the overall aesthetic and emotional impact. 6. Abstract exploration. Example: "Tune us to ourselves. And we shall have no more false, silly words." Analysis. These lines encapsulate the abstract exploration of the poem. The idea that the music of love can tune us to ourselves suggests a deep introspective journey. The rejection of false, silly words implies a desire for authenticity and a more profound form of communication. In summary, Peter Quince at the Clavier employs symbolism, metaphor, repetition, imagery, and a complex emotional exploration to convey themes related to artistic creation, love, and the intricacies of human experience. The examples provided illustrate how Wallace Stevens uses these literary devices to create a rich and thought-provoking poem. Themes in Peter Quince at the Clavier, by Wallace Stevens. Artistic creation. Example: "Just as my fingers on these keys make music." Analysis. The theme of artistic creation is central to the poem. The speaker likens the act of playing the piano keys to the process of making music and art. This metaphor serves as a gateway to exploring the profound impact of creativity on both the artist's inner self and the external world. Love and desire. Example: "Now shall we hear the lute of love." Analysis. Love is symbolized by the lute in the poem. The anticipation of hearing the lute of love sets the stage for a deeper exploration of romantic and emotional themes. The poem delves into the transformative power of love and its ability to tune individuals to their true emotions and desires. Despair and elevation. Example: "Uplifted, utter the old despair." Analysis. The coexistence of uplifted emotions and old despair reflects the complex emotional terrain of the artistic process. The poem suggests that the act of creation, while elevating the spirit, may also bring forth familiar feelings of despair. This theme underscores the nuanced and contradictory nature of human emotions. The power of imagination. Example: "Tune us to ourselves." Analysis. The poem explores the idea that the music of love has the power to tune individuals to themselves, aligning them with their true emotions. This theme underscores the transformative and illuminating potential of the imagination in shaping one's understanding of self and the world. Authentic communication. Example: "And we shall have no more false, silly words." Analysis. The desire for authentic communication is expressed in the rejection of false, silly words. The poem suggests that the music of love can lead to a more genuine and meaningful form of expression, transcending superficial or insincere communication. Human connection and shared experience. Example: "This is the music." Analysis. The repetition of the phrase, "this is the music," emphasizes a collective experience. The music becomes a universal expression of human desire, symbolizing a shared longing that transcends individual experiences. This theme highlights the interconnectedness of human emotions and aspirations. In Peter Quince at the Clavier, Wallace Stevens weaves together these themes to create a multifaceted exploration of the artistic process, the transformative power of love, and the complexities of human emotion and communication. The use of vivid imagery, metaphor, and repetition enhances the depth and richness of these thematic elements in the poem. Peter Quince at the Clavier, by Wallace Stevens, is a highly regarded poem that invites critical appreciation for its intellectual depth, rich imagery, and intricate exploration of themes. Here are key points for critical appreciation. Symbolism and metaphor. The poem is renowned for its effective use of symbolism and metaphor. The piano and lute serve as powerful symbols for artistic creation and love, respectively. The metaphor of playing keys on the piano becomes an analogy for the act of artistic expression, and the lute symbolizes the theme of love. These symbols contribute to the poem's complexity and depth. Intellectual depth. Stevens is known for his intellectual and philosophical approach to poetry, and Peter Quince at the Clavier is no exception. The poem delves into abstract concepts such as the relationship between reality and imagination, the transformative power of art, and the nature of human desire. The intellectual engagement required to unravel these ideas adds to the poem's significance. Rhythmic structure and repetition. The poem's use of repetition, especially phrases like, "This is the key to it," and "Now shall we hear the lute of love," contributes to a rhythmic and incantatory quality. This rhythmic structure enhances the poem's musicality, aligning with its theme of music and artistic expression. The repetition also emphasizes key ideas, inviting readers to reflect on their significance. Complex emotions and contradictions. The exploration of complex emotions, as seen in the juxtaposition of uplifted and old despair, adds layers to the poem. Stevens captures the contradictory nature of the artistic process, acknowledging both the elevating and potentially melancholic aspects of creativity. This nuanced portrayal of emotions contributes to the poem's psychological depth. Imagery and sensory evocation. Stevens employs vivid imagery to evoke a sensory experience for the reader. The mention of the piano keys and the anticipation of hearing the lute of love creates mental images that engage the senses. This use of imagery enhances the reader's connection to the themes of the poem. Universal themes. The poem addresses universal themes such as love, artistic creation, and human connection. The repetition of phrases like, "This is the music," underscores a collective experience, suggesting that the themes explored are not limited to the individual speaker but resonate on a broader, human level. Challenging traditional conventions. As a modernist work, Peter Quince at the Clavier challenges traditional poetic conventions. Stevens experiments with language, form, and structure, pushing boundaries to create a unique and thought-provoking piece. The poem's nonlinear narrative and abstract exploration contribute to its distinctiveness within the literary landscape. In conclusion, Peter Quince at the Clavier stands as a masterpiece that rewards readers with its intellectual richness, profound exploration of themes, and masterful use of language and imagery. The poem's enduring appeal lies in its ability to provoke contemplation and resonate with readers on both an emotional and intellectual level. Significance. Peter Quince at the Clavier holds significant literary importance within the body of Wallace Stevens' work and in the broader context of modernist poetry. Its significance lies in its exploration of complex themes such as artistic creation, love, and the interplay between reality and imagination. The poem is often cited as a representative example of Stevens' distinctive intellectual and philosophical approach to poetry. Its symbolism, metaphorical richness, and intricate language contribute to its enduring status as a highly regarded piece of literature. Relevance. The themes explored in the poem, including the transformative power of art, the nature of human desire, and the complexities of emotions, remain relevant and resonate with readers across different generations. The poem's examination of the relationship between the artist and their creation, as well as its reflections on the emotional and intellectual aspects of love, continues to be a source of contemplation and discussion. Its relevance extends to ongoing conversations about the role of art in the human experience. Legacy. Peter Quince at the Clavier has left a lasting legacy within the realm of modernist poetry. As part of Stevens' groundbreaking collection, Harmonium, the poem contributed to the evolution of poetic forms and themes during the early 20th century. Its influence is evident in subsequent generations of poets who engage with abstract and philosophical elements in their work. The poem's legacy also resides in its ability to inspire readers and critics to delve into the complexities of language, symbolism, and meaning. Contribution to modernist poetry. Stevens' contributions to modernist poetry, of which Peter Quince at the Clavier is a notable example, lie in his departure from traditional forms and his exploration of new ways to express complex ideas. The poem's nonlinear structure, rich symbolism, and emphasis on the power of imagination align with the tenets of modernism. Stevens, along with other modernist poets, challenged conventional approaches to language and narrative, paving the way for a more experimental and introspective era in literature. In summary, Peter Quince at the Clavier holds significance as a representative work of Wallace Stevens, remains relevant in its exploration of timeless themes, has left a lasting legacy within modernist poetry, and contributes to ongoing discussions about the nature of art and human experience. Its layered meanings and intellectual depth continue to captivate readers and scholars, ensuring its enduring place in the literary canon. Wallace Stevens is widely recognized as a modernist poet, and his works are considered emblematic of the modernist movement in American literature. Here are some key characteristics that align Stevens with the modernist tradition. Innovative use of language. Modernist poets often sought to break away from traditional language and forms. Stevens, in his poetry, experimented with language, using rich and complex imagery, metaphor, and symbolism. His language is often dense and requires careful consideration, reflecting a departure from more straightforward and accessible styles. Exploration of abstract ideas. Modernist poets were known for their engagement with abstract and philosophical ideas. Stevens delved into complex themes, such as the nature of reality, the relationship between imagination and perception, and the role of the artist. Peter Quince at the Clavier is a prime example of Stevens' abstract and intellectual approach to poetry. Rejection of realism. Modernist poets often moved away from traditional realism. Stevens, in particular, wasn't concerned with depicting external reality as much as exploring the internal landscapes of the mind and imagination. His poems are more concerned with ideas, emotions, and the act of perception rather than straightforward depictions of the external world. Fragmentation and nonlinear narrative. Modernist poetry frequently featured fragmented structures and nonlinear narratives. Stevens' poems often lack a conventional narrative flow. Instead, they present a series of images, ideas, and impressions that require the reader to engage actively in constructing meaning. Cultural and technological shifts. Modernist poets responded to the profound cultural and technological shifts of the early 20th century. Stevens' work emerged during a period marked by significant changes in society, industry, and technology. His poetry reflects a sense of dislocation and the challenge of finding meaning in a rapidly changing world. Individual consciousness and subjectivity. Modernist poets often focused on individual consciousness and subjectivity. Stevens' poems frequently explore the inner thoughts and perceptions of the speaker. The Snow Man, for example, presents a meditation on how one's state of mind shapes their perception of reality. Influence of European modernism. American modernist poets were influenced by European modernist movements, such as Imagism and Surrealism. Stevens, too, drew inspiration from European poets like Symbolists and Surrealists, incorporating elements of their styles into his own unique voice. Multiplicity of meanings. Modernist poets embraced ambiguity and multiple meanings. Stevens' poems often resist a single, fixed interpretation. 13 Ways of Looking at a Blackbird, for instance, presents multiple perspectives on a seemingly simple subject, encouraging readers to consider different layers of meaning. In summary, Wallace Stevens is considered a modernist poet due to his innovative use of language, exploration of abstract ideas, rejection of traditional realism, fragmented structures, engagement with cultural shifts, focus on individual consciousness, and influence from European modernist movements. His contributions have solidified his place in the modernist literary canon.